One really exciting night, hoped for days, none other than Bob Dylan was going to be on the Ed Sullivan Show on May 12, 1963. Bob walked onto the stage to a cheering, loud, excited crowd. Although I'm saying this like he's the most famous of his time, he's actually under Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and some other ones I don't know because I'm 11. Anyway, where was I? He started playing a few different songs until he came across this one song that people didn't like so much. Specifically, the song lyrics said, "Looked up my chimney hole, looked deep down my toilet bowl, they got away." The crowd booed, and they really didn't like it, and acted really rude. Bob Dylan thought this was unfair, so he stormed off the Ed Sullivan Show. Bob Dylan was a very famous singer from the 60s. He performed many songs, and people loved him. They also liked Elvis Presley and the Beatles, but we're not talking about them. One day, Bob got invited to be on the Ed Sullivan Show to perform his second album. By the way, the Ed Sullivan Show is a very famous TV show from the 60s. Bob got invited to be on the Ed Sullivan Show on May 12, 1963. When the day came, Bob ended up walking off the Ed Sullivan Show. Want to find out? Well, keep watching. It all started when Bob Dylan walked on stage to a happy, cheering, loud crowd, ready to perform his second album. When he started the song, people at first liked it, until he came across the lyric that ticked some people off. Oops, never mind. A lot of people got ticked off. Look, the line states, "Looked up my chimney hole, deep down my toilet bowl, they got away." Everyone hated it, not because it was old in the lyrics, and they thought he worked for Adolf Hitler. That's how our buddy Bob ended up walking off the Ed Sullivan Show. The main players are Bob, our buddy, of course, Ed Sullivan, and pretty much anyone who didn't like Hitler that was alive back in the 60s that heard of Mr. Dylan, which just pretty much narrows it down. Bob was singing a song that the lyrics stated, "Looked up my chimney hole, deep down my toilet bowl, they've got away." People thought he worked for Adolf Hitler, so the crowd started booing. Bob thought this was unfair, so he stormed off the Ed Sullivan Show. Bobby hasn't experienced this before, but he decided to stand up for what he thought was right, and so he did. After Bob stood up against the people, he became even more famous. First of all, he read the newspaper article about him. Second, he wrote some more songs for some more albums. Oh, and I was debating whether or not I should put this in. It's not really a big detail. Well, here we go. He won the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature. Yeah, he did that. So yeah, there we go. Got that out of the way. The people that took the protest were, yes, sad. Partly because they lost, and partly because the person they lost to won the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature. But a lot of the people were influenced for how he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, nowadays, 2017, we've all forgotten completely, and the only really people who remember or at least know are the old people or the people who are studying it for the Minnesota History Day. So yeah, you're welcome. Bob Dylan sang a song. Some people thought he worked for Hitler. This took place on the Ed Sullivan Show on May 12, 1963. Bob took a stand by sending an angry protest at Ed. He did this because it was what he believed was the right thing to do. Lots of people disagreed. They thought he was a bad person. Right away, this had an impact because Bob never took the stand. He'd probably be in jail right now, and he never would have won the Nobel Peace Prize.